Class is in session.
Hey guys, Matt here from the 13th grade, the grade they never taught you in school, where we talk about everything money. Today we're going to be talking about, is it worth it or not to go to college? Now this is a pretty subjective question here as it pertains to you particularly, but my goal here is to explore several different options that you may have that maybe you weren't thinking of. In this video, we're going to talk about if you go to a four-year college, how much debt you may come out with and what those payments may look like. We're going to talk about the 2+2 plan where you go to 2 years of community and 2 years of a four-year school. And we're also going to talk a little bit about going into a trade after you get out of high school. Okay, so to dive in here, the average student debt, according to CNBC, in 2017 was roughly $26,000. Now that has climbed since then by about 2% per year, bringing that right around $30,000. So we're going to use that number to base off of. So let's just look strictly at the numbers here. If you were to go to a four-year school, $30,000 of debt, and we're going to have a 6% interest rate, we're going to have a payment of roughly $333 for the next 10 years. And over that course of 10 years, the amount of interest we'll pay is roughly $10,000. So that $30,000 that you were looking at as a student loan after your four-year school is really becoming a $40,000 loan. Unless, of course, you're smart and you pay that off early. But some things to consider here are, do you need to go to a four-year school to get in the career field that you want? Do you have any idea what you want to do after school or even when you go to college? I for sure had no idea what I wanted to do when I stepped foot into my four-year school. So obviously guys, if you want to be a doctor, a nurse, an engineer, things like that, you know that you need to go get your four-year degree. However, sometimes there is a way around that, which brings us to option number 2. This is the 2+2 plan. You go to 2 years of community school, and then you go to 2 years of your four-year school after that, leaving you with the same certificate that you would have had if you went to the four-year school all along. The difference here could be half the amount of debt that you'll have to repay. Now you might ask, how is it half the amount of debt if you still went to 2 years of that four-year school and you had 2 years of community? Don't you have to pay for that? Yes, you do. But let's talk about some of the differences here. If you go to community, obviously that's in the community you live in. Maybe you could still live at home with mom and dad. So you're going to save on paying rent or housing, which can be pretty pricey living on campus at a university. The other big thing to factor in here too is meal plans. Those can be pretty pricey as well. And also even consider, even if you don't have a meal plan at a four-year school and you're paying for food on your own, that's not quite the same as digging into mom's fridge every night whenever you get back home. So you can save a bunch of bucks here. The other thing too is you could potentially work part-time at, let's say, your high school job that you've had all the way through this 2 years of going to community college. So what this really will allow you to do is pay off your school as you go. Who doesn't love to hear that? The average tuition and cost for going to community college per semester is around $3,000. You should be able to knock that out as you go. Considering too your working summers, if you really get to the grind, you can get through that first 2 years of schooling with no debt. If you guys like where I'm going with this video, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Okay, so let's get into the numbers here. So we said that we were going to cut that $30,000 that we would have had if we went to a four-year school in half, bringing us to $15,000. All right, so some quick numbers here on this $15,000 of student debt that we're going to come out of this four-year span of school with is going to be a payment of $166 a month for the next 10 years. Over the course of this 10 years, we're going to pay $5,000 in interest roughly. So that $15,000 loan is really going to be about a $20,000 loan. But you can always pay it off early. That will save you a lot of interest money in the end. One thing, again, that we will stress here is that if you go to a community college and then do the second 2 years at a four-year school, you're still going to have the same piece of paper degree as you would if you went to that four-year school all along. The last and final option we're going to talk about is going into a trade. Now, who's a trade good for? Somebody that knows they want to be a carpenter, somebody that knows they want to be a plumber, somebody that knows they want to be an electrician or HVAC. or also somebody that has no idea what they want to do, but this looks like a good option that you don't want to go into any debt to start. One thing that I've seen is that some of these trade schools will pay you as you go to school. Well, that's the exact opposite of you paying to go to school, to receive this knowledge and become skillful in a job field that you want to get into. One other thing we're going to note here is that over the last, let's say, 20 to 30 years, the growing trend has been to go to college, which is leaving less people going into the trades. So we could kind of see at this point that there is a little bit of a lack of supply of tradesmen and a big demand for them. That's one reason why they're paying you to go to school, because they need people. But the also good benefit here is that they're going to pay you higher because they need people. There is demand. Okay guys, we went through these 3 different scenarios here. I can't tell you which one's best for you. Only you can investigate these 3 options and really think about what it may cost you to go to that 4-year school. And could you save by going to a community college and then to a 4-year school? You have the same piece of paper. Before you go to college or into a trade or whatever it is, you really have no idea what type of money you're going to earn or what type of money you're going to have to owe for going to schooling. So I encourage you to look into these things and investigate. This is just to open your eyes, to see that there's other options than just going to, let's say, a trade or than just going to a 4-year school. If you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. My name is Matt. This is the 13th grade, the grade they never taught you in school, where we talk about everything money.
Class dismissed.